Today, we are diving into a core economic idea that, believe it or not, secretly runs our lives. It's the real reason you might race to the store for one sale but completely ignore another one. So let's kick things off with a puzzle. It's something you've almost certainly experienced yourself, even if you didn't have a name for it at the time.
I mean, really think about that for a second. The discount is exactly the same, right? 20% is 20%. But our reactions? They couldn't be more different. One feels like this incredible can't miss deal, while the other, well, we barely even notice it happened. So what's going on there?
To solve this little mystery, we actually need to go a bit deeper than the most basic rule of economics. The one we all learned in school. This is super intuitive, of course. If your favorite coffee spot decides to double its prices overnight, you're probably going to buy less coffee. Simple. That's the basic direction of the relationship. But for any business trying to make a profit, just knowing the direction, well, that's not nearly enough information. And this is where it gets really interesting. It separates what we kind of feel out as shoppers from what a business has to know to survive. Knowing that raising prices is going to lower demand is one thing. But the crucial, literally million-dollar question is by how much? Is a 5% price hike going to cause a tiny little dip in sales, or is it going to trigger a catastrophic collapse? That difference, well, that's everything. And figuring out that difference brings us to the hero of our story today, the single concept that cracks our price puzzle wide open. This one idea is what allows economists and businesses to actually predict our reactions to price changes for pretty much any product you can think of. And here it is, elasticity of demand. Okay, I know that definition sounds a little academic, a bit textbooky, but the core idea behind it is actually really simple. It's just a way to measure exactly how much our buying habits respond or react when something like price changes. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a rubber band. For some products, our demand is super stretchy. A little tug on the price causes a huge change in how much we want it. For other products, it's not stretchy at all. You can pull on the price, and our demand barely even budges. Okay, so let's go back to our original puzzle. Let's imagine the price for both a new pair of headphones and a container of salt goes up by the exact same amount, 10%. And here's the result. This just shows the difference so clearly. That 10% price jump for headphones might cause a massive 40% drop in demand. Why? Well, because it's a luxury item. There are tons of other brands, substitutes we can buy instead, and we might just decide to wait it out. So the demand is highly elastic. But salt, that 10% price hike might only cause a tiny 1% drop. It's a necessity. It costs next to nothing in our total grocery bill. And what are you going to do? Buy a substitute for salt? The demand is highly inelastic. Okay, so we get the idea of stretchy versus not stretchy. But how do economists actually put a number on this? How do they measure it? Well, they use a pretty straightforward formula to calculate something called the coefficient of elasticity. And don't worry, it sounds way more complicated than it actually is. It really just boils down to a simple division problem. Let's use our headphone example. Okay, step 1. What was the percent change in demand? It was a 40% drop, so negative 40. Step 2. What was the percent change in price? That was a 10% increase. So for step 3, you just divide the change in demand by the change in price. Negative 40 divided by 10 gives you an elasticity of negative 4. See? You're just measuring the size of the reaction compared to the size of the initial action. Now, this might seem like a neat little trick for economists, but its real power is in its practical, everyday use for businesses that are making huge decisions. Yeah, understanding elasticity isn't just some academic exercise. It's an absolutely fundamental tool for real-world business strategy. Businesses use this stuff for everything. I mean, if a coffee shop knows its demand is highly elastic, it knows that even a tiny price increase could send customers running to the competitor across the street. But if it's inelastic, they might realize, hey, we've got some room to raise prices without losing much business. It helps them figure out if a buy one, get one free sale will actually generate enough new sales to be profitable, or whether that new ad campaign is making people less sensitive to price. When you get right down to it, elasticity is the key. It unlocks the answers to some of the most fundamental questions in business. What price should we set? Is our marketing working? What will our sales look like next quarter? It all comes back to how much our demand will stretch. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. For you, personally, what's a product that has the most elastic demand, where a small price change makes a huge difference in whether you buy it or not? Is it maybe a fancy coffee, movie tickets, a certain brand of clothing? Understanding your own elasticity is really the first step to seeing this powerful economic force everywhere.